Carrie Negon, it's always great to speak with the two of you. Carrie, we'll start with you. And what are your thoughts on the moves that the Prime Minister in his cabinet shuffle on Wednesday?
I think it was necessary, and I think it was a smart move to shake things up, especially now. He's showing that, he's looking at changes, and it gives the new ministers time to get acquainted into their seats before there is an election. So I think it was a smart move on the Prime Minister's part to do this.
And Negon, just further to what Carrie just said, so was it time for the Liberal government to make some of these moves? And what do you think was, behind this shuffle?
Yeah, certain ministers really had to go, Marco Mendicino in particular. Everyone thought that maybe Chrystia Freeland was going to head out, but that didn't seem to be the case. And certainly Dominic LeBanc has taken on more of a role. But of course, the big surprise, I think, both for us who work in this industry, but I think across the country, the biggest surprise was the move of Mark Miller out of the Crown Indigenous Relations post, and the bringing in of a rookie minister from the GTA, Toronto. That's where the Liberals really want to shore up their support, and so they bring in, out of the 7 new cabinet ministers, 4 of them are from Toronto, which states a lot about what this coming election campaign focus will be.
Well, and Carrie, just we're building off of points here. There seems to be some frustration and disappointment in the shuffling of Mark Miller, like Negon just said, out of the Crown Indigenous Relations role. What do you think is behind that, and what do you think could be lost with his departure?
Well, Mark Miller, he was out in the community. He built a lot of relationships. Last year, he was out at Batoche, just walking around, not doing anything political. He was just visiting. And I think his ability to blend into the community, talk to the people at the community level, really struck a chord within the community. But I think we're overlooking the simple fact that maybe Anda Sangri will bring in a new perspective. This is the first time we've had someone of color in this role. And I was looking at I was reading about him, and he is a human rights lawyer. He helped with the UNDRIP. And one of the things that stood out for me was that he wants to meet with families regarding the landfill in Winnipeg. And this is the first time I've heard somebody say that he wants to talk directly with the families and come to some sort of conclusion. So before I think we totally wipe him out and say, oh no, we don't want him, we should actually give him a chance.
Yeah, it's a great point, Carrie. And Negon, will give the last word to you here. What can people expect from Gary and Anda Sangri in this role of Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations?
Well, new Minister Anda Sangri's got a big list in front of him. But if you look at the background, I mean, he's been working at this for quite a while. He's been parliamentary secretary in the Crown Indigenous Relations post, working under Carolyn Bennett. He's also been on the Indigenous Affairs Committee, the House Indigenous Affairs Committee, for 6 years. So he certainly has experience. And I think the one thing that I'm writing about in my column is that he comes from displaced peoples. He's part of the Tamil minority in Sri Lanka that was in a civil war for almost 3 decades. And his father was a politician that was ousted and removed by the Sinhalese majority government. And so in his first speech, he said, I know colonialism, I know how to come through colonialism. And I think that's quite refreshing for, I think, a lot of Indigenous peoples to hear a Minister of Indigenous Crown Relations to speak like that.
Carrie Negon, we'll have to leave it there, but always great insight. Thank you guys so much for this.
Miigwech.